Welcome back to FilmFloggers. We review films and flog dead horses, so you don't have to. Is this week's film choice a complete waste of your viewing time? Much like flogging / beating dead horses, get it? Please head over to www.filmfloggers.com to check out all of our previous floggings. And while you're there, maybe hang out for a while, look around and vote for our next film. Click on vote, or visit www.filmfloggers.com/vote. Are you an idiot? If so, please check out our Idiot's Guide to Reviewing Us, where even a big dummy like you can leave us a red-hot review. Here at FilmFloggers, we pride ourselves on offering 1-star content with 5-star effort. Once on the website, please click on Idiot's Guide, or visit us at www.filmfloggers.com/review-us. That should have been Idiot's Guide. My fault, I didn't change the URL. Annoying. Once again, filmfloggers.com/review-us. Believe it or not, we now have a Patreon. I know what you're thinking. You have the audacity to ask us to pay to receive more of this. Pause for dramatic effect. Yes. We have a Patreon exclusive show called Nitpickers. I think you'll like it. Please visit www.filmfloggers.com/support-us. Again, that hyphen is annoying, should have removed it. Or head straight to our Patreon page. Patreon.com/filmwafflers. No idea why I did film wafflers. Another mistake. Where you can support us for as little as £1 British or $1.50. And while you're on the website, punch that big purple subscribe button and tell a friend about the flog. Wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, mistress, your nan, granddad, your kids. They can tell their friends. They can tell their friends at school about the flog. But in all seriousness, this really helps the podcast grow and enables us to enrich or ruin the lives of the hundreds of millions of earlobes we haven't reached yet. Welcome to Film Floggers. Grab a flog and join us as we go to work on our latest film offering and try to answer the question, does this film feel like flogging a dead horse? The answer is probably yes, but let's find out. Put the cookie down. Yeah? Oh mate, great line.
Excellent.
Hi Tom.
Hello Ben.
Yeah, so we got our, well, not our first I suppose technically, because we have previously recorded Trapped in Paradise, so I guess that was our first Christmas film. But we've got our first one between just me and you, so it's just back to the two-piece over here. And yeah, well, we've gone with, I guess, quite an obvious choice, I suppose, in many ways.
Yeah, well, this film always seems to make its way to the top of quite a lot of people's go-to Christmas films. The film we're talking about, of course, is what the fuck's it called again? Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jingle All the Way. Yeah. Schwarzenegger. I mean, I've got to say, like, I've seen this years ago. It's never been a film that I would consider as a close, a big Christmas contender for me at the Thomas household.
I think before yesterday, I'm still on board with it. I'm still getting Jingle All the Way. I'm not disgusted by it, but of course, my viewing yesterday was the first time that I've watched it based on me knowing that I'm going to be reviewing it and talking about it, and then having to write notes on it. It's pretty much a Christmas staple. Like, it's going on most Christmases at some point. If it's in the background or whatever, it's going on. It's absolute junk. It's brain dead. I guess in some ways that's kind of what it is, isn't it, Christmas? It's a chance to put your feet up, like lob some shit into the gob and just watch some shit on TV.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think brain dead and junk is about right. I mean, it's pretty, it's naff. It's like really naff. It's pretty cheap. I mean, yeah, I guess it's good for Christmas because, you can probably absorb all of the nuances in it, two bottles of wine in. I mean, I don't think you even need to be properly conscious to be getting what's going on in this.
If you've got some eggnog going on, I'd say lob that in. If you can start getting, giddy on some eggnog or whatever your choice of alcoholic beverage is over Christmas, I'd say load up for this.
I mean, what, do you drink eggnog, do you?
I had some a couple of years ago. My mum made some and I was, whatever. Not for me, I don't think. Not getting it.
No, I don't get it either. It's gross. But yeah, no. This Jingle All the Way. Yeah, I'm not big on this. I think it's gross. I think it's pretty grim actually. It's just so tacky, and I also think its messaging's all over the place as well. I think I know we kind of have this bit at the end which brings it back up to the family and the kid getting his dad back. But I think up to that point, like it's pretty. I think its message is quite ugly. Like all these people sort of clambering over each other in massive like supermarkets. It's just grim.
Well, it's a thing though, isn't it? I think this was based on, it's pretty much based on, I think it was Cabbage Patch Kid or Doll or whatever it was.
Oh, is that the thing that sprouts hair from the head? Sorry, sprouts grass.
Yes. I think that was what it was kind of loosely based on that. And there was that frenzy But then the same year of this film, you had the Elmo doll. There's an episode of South Park where the dolls is called "Stop Touching Me, Elmo."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you seen that?
I haven't actually, but yeah, I can quite imagine.
And one of the things is, if you touch Elmo on the back, he will then touch you and come out with stuff like, "Have you ever been tickled on the inside? Can I watch you go potty?" And there's this other shit about Elmo he's got a toothpaste dispenser to help kids brush their teeth. And then as the kids start pressing it, he's just going like, more. I imagine there's been numerous things over the years, over Christmas, toys and everything, whatever, gadgets, that have caused this sort of frenzy. Well, to be fair, if we're looking at 2020, I suppose it's the rise of the next gens, isn't it? PlayStation and Xbox.
No, it's, well, hang on. I mean, even more relevant is like the hoarding that went on during like the COVID stuff. People just buying up entire supermarkets, basically.
Well, it's ugly, isn't it?
Well, it's very ugly, yeah. It's gross.
The scenes of people in these shops trying to pick up junk, it is just a really ugly side of humanity, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I thought there's so much of that in this film. Like I think it's really ugly, and I think the whole that Sinbad character is he's beyond the pale. I mean he just comes in and just starts shouting like it's awful.
Yeah, he's terrible. Yeah,
it's so awful.
He's an absolutely horrendous choice.
I mean, like I know Trapped in Paradise, that absolutely stank, and you had Dana. What's his name? Dana Harvey.
Carvery.
What's it? Dana Carvery.
Dana Carvery.
Dana Carvey or Carvery.
Carvey, yeah, whatever. The problem with that we kind of got, I think we arrived at was that, your protagonists are too unlikable, but this Sinbad is so unbearable. I don't know whether he'd be a contender for even more unbearable than old Carvey's character in Trapped in Paradise, but it's awful. Oh God. Oh, absolutely not.
No?
That Carvey performance is one of the worst I've ever seen. Oh, yeah, there's no way.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I thought it was pretty abhorrent. I thought it was terrible. Horrible.
Do you know who the producers originally wanted to play the Sinbad character?
No.
Joe Pesci.
Oh, man. Well, the thing, Joe Pesci's funny because obviously he turns up in Home Alone, doesn't he? That was his kind of Christmas edition. And obviously he's playing this, like, burglar who keeps getting, either, like, slapped in the face or punched by, like, a little kid. And it's in Joe Pesci's nature just to start completely firing off. I mean, obviously he's so good in Goodfellas because, you can imagine, as this, like, chippy little bloke, you can imagine him being a bit like that in real life. But obviously in Home Alone, like, he's got to keep it clean. So he's there just going like, you, little, but he's just ready to absolutely unload on Macaulay Culkin, but he can't.
I would like to do Home Alone, actually, I think. I've not seen it for years, and I think for me, I'm not sold on it at all, Home Alone, I don't think.
No, I agree. I'm baffled I'm not baffled, but I am always on the outside of a Home Alone conversation when it goes on. You get all these people kind of congregating around it, making a big song and dance, and I've always been on the outside of that. I've always been like, whatever. But it's about films that you saw when you were very young, that you watched a lot of when you were very young. I mean, all this stuff is based around nostalgia, because all these films are they're all just kind of, they're quite, a lot of them are quite trashy. I mean, they've got like themes or performances, like Macaulay Culkin, very young. He obviously had something about him. He obviously had a bit of star power to kind of carry a whole franchise. But if you sort of haven't been on the bandwagon from an early age, from the go, I think you find it quite hard to really understand what people get out of that stuff now.
Oh yeah, I think most Christmas films are pretty shit.
Yeah,
they're not good. There's an odd few that you go, do you know what, that's actually quite a solid film. But I think overall most of them are pretty shit. With Jingle All the Way, next Christmas, I'll watch it again and I'll be okay. I'll be like, yeah, oh, there it is, yeah. It's absolutely junk, but I'm fine with it. Because it's always been junk, it always will be junk, and it's not offensive, but it takes on a completely different story when I've now got to talk about it. There's so many problems with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough. There's content-wise, there's definitely enough here to chew on. I mean, I don't know if you got anything of note director-wise or anything. I mean, what year did this come out? Was it 94?
96.
96. Okay. Any note from director? Who directed it?
So we got Brian Levant.
Oh yeah,
who was the director? So he's got a few. So you've got a bit of Beethoven.
Oh, the dog one. Yeah, never seen it.
God knows how many there are of them now, but he did the first one. The Flintstones, the live-action one of the Flintstones.
Is that with John Goodman?
Yeah, but he did the sequel as well, like Viva Las Vegas. Oh my God.
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, it's a disgrace. He did Snow Dogs, with old Cuba. What's that guy called? Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuban Gooding Jr. What's he called? Cuba Gooding Jr. Or am I making that up?
No, I think that's right. Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr.
So basically, just like wank kids films.
But it's I think that's it. It's not worth spending any more time on.
No, okay. Obviously, Schwarzenegger. I mean, this is kind of him at the peak of his powers, isn't it? Really. I mean, he's looking well in this.
Well, no, I'd say this is towards in terms of like his physique and his size. I'd say this is sort of the back end.
Okay.
Of course, he's still looking a lot bigger than the average man. You know, he's huge.
Yeah, he's looking huge. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is the back end.
Well, I mean, he's walking around the film in that like long winter coat, and he just looks like a fucking gravestone. He's just huge.
So I'm not quite sure, but I think it was more the late 90s. He had his first heart surgery. So then I think after that, he sort of sacked off the weights, especially lifting heavy, I think. I think he sort of put it to one side.
What was the heart problems about?
I think it was something to do with one of his valves. I don't know if it was hereditary or it was an issue that he'd always had since he was a kid, and that one day it was going to go. So he always knew it was going to go at some point. I'm not too sure. I read his book ages ago, and he talks about it a bit. I think, and he's getting on. He's what? He's pushing 50 now in this. Yeah, when was he born? 47? I guess in some ways it's quite tragic that this is the first Schwarzenegger we're doing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, we're only 20 episodes in or whatever, so it's it's okay. But it's Jingle All the Way probably wouldn't be.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be my go-to Schwarzenegger. No,
my first choice for Arnie.
Should we also mention the character who plays Ted, who's this kind of unbearable neighbour who basically is has all the women on the cul-de-sac swooning, played by Phil Hartman. Is it Hartman? Bit of a tragic case, supposedly.
Yeah, an absolute grisly end.
What on earth has happened there? So what? He was a Saturday Night Live comedian, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a pretty big hitter with that. It's a Christmas podcast, our first Christmas episode between us, so we don't want to spend too long talking about the grisly end to Phil Hartman's life, but we'll briefly mention it. Just before we mention the grisly end, I was quite upset with Phil because apparently I think he had a hand in helping the bloke who does that Pee-wee Big Adventure. Have you seen that?
No.
I can't remember the guy's name, but I think he helped develop that character. Well, I think Pee-wee Herman's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
Sorry, Pee-wee Herman. What is that?
Pee-wee Herman, yeah. It's like a character in a film. It was one of Tim Burton's first films he directed. I think it was potentially his first film he directed.
Right. Well, what sort of stuff's going on?
Oh, I can't. You're going to have to go back and look at YouTube or something.
Well, is it the voice, or I mean, what kind of what are we talking about here?
Everything. It's the voice. It's the look. Yeah, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It is. Oh,
I mean, it doesn't sound good.
It's similar to our mate Dana from Trapped in Paradise. It's that Pee-wee Herman. Yeah, awful. Yeah, terrible.
Stinks. Yeah. Okay, all right.
So yeah, sorry Phil. Apart from that, seemed like a decent bloke, and I think he's quite enjoyable in this. He's like a slime ball, but he does it well. But no, his ending was pretty horrific. Yeah, he's basically his wife killed him. His wife killed him when he was sleeping. Shot him.
Jesus.
I think they'd had some various problems, and I think she was depressed, and I think she was on drugs and stuff.
Like, what year was this?
97?
Right.
Or maybe 98.
Oh, so what, a year after this?
Yeah, I think this was one of his last... This was maybe his last film, in terms of his last acting film. I think maybe he was in Small Soldiers, but I don't know if he was playing... I don't know if he was lending his voice rather than actually playing himself in it, playing a character. But yeah, no, not good. Yeah, terrible.
Bloody hell. Yeah, all right. Well. I mean, I think that's sort of it. I mean, they're the big hitters. You've got Schwarzenegger, you've got Phil Hartman, you've got that's pretty much it. You've got Sinbad, but I feel like we've probably talked enough about him. I think we'll probably try and steer the conversation as much away from that character as we possibly can.
You got Rita Wilson, Tom Hanks' wife in real life.
Oh yeah, okay.
Bit of Rita, yeah.
Yeah. What, playing Liz? Is that Liz? Sorry.
She's playing Liz, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think we should just kick off here, shouldn't we? I mean, we sort of start off. We've got an advert for the Turbo Man. So the Turbo Man, for anyone who doesn't know, is a doll that everyone is going nuts for, including adults. Everyone is obsessed with Turbo Man. That's like a superhero. It's like Action Man, isn't it? Basically, yeah. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, and I'd go along with that. I'd say Action Man for me certainly was my go-to as a kid.
Oh, so did I. I mean, I was all about Action Man. I was getting the the scuba Action Man, him with some scuba on. There was of course.
What was the bad guy called? Dr. Ooze? Was it Dr. Ooze? The bad guy?
Oh, I can't remember. Probably.
Oh, no, wait. I think it was Dr. X. That was his name. Bit of Dr. X for you.
But there's one with him just in like cargo trousers and, like the sort of jungle action man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a jet. I had a bike.
Oh, the bike. Oh, I had the bike, yeah.
I had like a red car that used to shoot rockets.
Well, I had one where you could press his bicep and he fired stuff out of his fingers. Pretty awesome. Oh, no, I think he had a nunchuck. That was it. He had a nunchuck that like sprang out when he clicked his arm. Well, it's fantastic.
Yeah, unbelievable, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we've all been there.
Well, talking about that, actually, I suppose, was there anything in particular growing up that you were just like, oh, I need to have it. I've got to have it.
I mean, there was a year where Robo-Dog was a thing. I remember News Round for the BBC, CBBS or CBBC had News Round with Lizo, the guy who opened his mouth very far when he spoke. Yeah, so Lizo was on there and he was talking about the Robo-Dog, and it was like, look at this, and there was a news report that came out of China or something, and it was basically this guy kneeling down with a Robo-Dog and like bent like putting his head down, and the dog did the same thing that he'd done. So it was almost like this thing can literally replicate what you do to it. It do in front of it. So I spent Christmas morning like bowing down to the dog. Well, of course, it doesn't do anything like that. So it was obviously the wrong thing. But I mean, one of the things that I'd say about this is that I don't think I've ever had there's been nothing I've ever asked for Christmas that's been the hot thing that if I didn't get it, it would be this like absolute damning the end of my relationship with either my mum or my dad. I mean, that's again what I'm struggling to kind of grapple with here. I mean, we've actually talked about this topic has come up before about how it's all about like, some guy with a young kid who's got a very high profile job and like misses some recital or some like just insignificant garbage. And it's turned into like, it's like fanned up by the wife to become this big like, well, you just don't love your son. You don't love your children. You're never here for them. And it's just like, no. The guy's got a job that he's got to be at. What the hell's going on?
The River Wild episode that we did, you had Tom, the dad in that. I was kind of on board. He was getting particularly shafted from Meryl Streep and his son, Rourke. I wish I wasn't saying that again, but yeah, his son was called Rourke. Working long hours, providing for the family, and he was just getting shouted at, basically. I think it does follow quite a similar trend in this.
Absolutely.
What's he selling, Schwarzenegger? Is it beds or mattresses?
I don't know. Is that actually explored? Do we know what he's selling?
Not for definite, but he's there, isn't he? Like the star on the phone, selling stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's set up, isn't it? Like Schwarzenegger, he's this kind of like naff salesman. And he's like on the phone to all these clients and he's going like, oh, you're my favourite customer. You're my favourite customer. And it's, to everyone who he speaks to. And his wife rings up and goes like, oh, what's he called? Howard, don't forget your son's karate session tonight, And he's like, oh, I will. I'll be there. You're my favourite customer. Oh, damn. Oh, no. And, and all this.
Yeah. Oh, classic.
I mean, it's, I just, so you're immediately set up, he's this slightly naff guy. He's obviously, overrun at work. He's running this show and, he's got to get to old, what's his son called? Jamie. So Jamie's got a very important, Jamie's about 5, but he's got a very important karate lesson that, Schwarzenegger, if he misses, then he just doesn't love Jamie.
Right, so sorry, this karate stuff, he gets his green belt by just karate chopping a bit of flimsy plywood. And then he gets his green belt for that. I did a bit of karate when I was younger.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. So what? Please tell. What did you have to do for your green? Because obviously you weren't the green belt, see?
Well, I had to. You had to do sort of. I think they were called katas, and you had to do like a sequence of moves you had to put together, and then you had to do. So you also got badges as well. So you had your kit on, and then you used to have like badges that you used to put up your arm to show that you could do a certain move.
I thought you were going to say something else there. Yeah, put them up your arm. Yeah.
So yeah, so you had that. Sorry, please, you got to respect the karate, please, Tom.
Sorry, of course.
So you had these badges, for doing certain moves, doing them well, and then you also had stuff for like, if you could count to like 20 in Japanese, get the badge on the arm for that. And then every so often, if you wanted to get if you wanted to get like another stripe on the belt, you had to then do these basically the katas and the moves, but like extended over a period of like a few hours or whatever. So you did that, and then you used to get a stripe on the belt, and then eventually, I think it was like 2 or 3 stripes, and then you got the next belt. Yeah, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So yeah, so he misses the karate basically, Arnie. He's about like 2 days too late for the karate. He's like, oh, I missed it again. Right, yeah, just missed that, Arnie.
Well, he's in traffic coming away, and it kind of cuts between Arnie sitting in traffic and this recital thing going on with his son. And well, he decides he's sitting in gridlock traffic. Well, he decides to basically pull out and start driving along the hard shoulder. And of course, he then gets pulled over by the police. And he's like, officer, I need to get to Jamie's karate lesson. Well, of course, if someone's reversing down the hard shoulder and gives that as justification, well, I mean, you'd be like, well, sir, you've clearly been doing some heavy drugs tonight.
I've been a bit of a rush. Do you mind?
I've got to get to Jamie's karate session, Well, of course, he gets pulled over, understandably, and misses the entire thing.
This cop, is this the same cop throughout?
Yeah.
So that's the same one as well. Right. So he's there from start to finish.
It's set up like this nemesis who keeps popping up. He basically just keeps getting like, Arnold's running down the street and, the police officer pops out the coffee shop and just gets, thrown to the side by Arnie. So it's like a nemesis thing.
I think Arnie, he does get like a pretty decent go at it. He should be arrested numerous times throughout this. He's committing all sorts of crimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he just shrugs it off and just moves on. It's not good.
Well, he's causing absolute mayhem around the city. And just seems to somehow flee the scene every single time and just, just carries on looking for the Turbo Man. But like we have this bit where also he finally arrives home and old Jamie, he's got his green belt. But yet again, he's plonked himself in front of the TV just watching more Turbo Man material. He's just watching another Turbo Man advert. It seems that this kid has basically got a DVD of Turbo Man adverts. Anytime the TV's on, it's Turbo Man.
I think he likes Turbo Man. I think he may want a Turbo Man doll for Christmas. Possibly. I'm not sure.
I'm getting that impression too. And sort of Arnie's coming in, tail between the legs. His wife's not helping him. He's sort of going like, you missed Jamie's thing. He was very upset. He's sitting in there beating off to Turbo Man again. And you're going to have to do something about this. And so, Schwarzenegger's there kind of going, hey, Jamie, good session. How you feeling? And then he takes him upstairs and, very undignified for Schwarzenegger. He's trying to sort of win the affection back of Jamie. And he's having to he's going like, so what, and he like picks up the belt and he's like, is it like this? And he's got it round his like hip. And then he's like, oh, like this, put it on his head. And then he's doing some karate noises, just some like hi-ya, some kicks. I mean, what do you think of that? Very undignified.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Arnie's doing there. It's a shame.
We've seen better.
My original point was about this karate, the belt, is that he says, because he starts whining. So you've got, the kid, Jake Lloyd, the guy who plays Anakin Skywalker. A bit later on, a couple of years after this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just horrendous kid, horrendous actor. Just awful. So he's whining about, obviously he didn't turn up. And then he goes, you missed this belt. He's like, well, I was there for yellow or whatever. Oh, but you weren't there for blue. And all this sort of shit. He's got this green belt, great. He says he's 3 belts away from black. Sorry, so the kid's like 7 years old. So that means by the age of like 11, he's going to be like a master. He's going to be like Bruce Lee.
You need to explain this, because, I have no idea what you're talking about here. Like, I don't have any idea of the concept of belts.
I went back through my history of my karate, and I probably got it wrong. I'm calling stuff katas. That's probably a load of shit. I don't know. I just remember like a sequence of moves that you did, and it was called, I think it was called that. But I'm probably wrong. Again, I'm not quite sure about how the belts go. I think for me, it was like green, purple, brown, and black, maybe, with the stripes as well that it used to get. I don't know how many stripes, but you had the stripes. So this kid's saying that he's 3 belts away from black. Well, obviously, black being, the one. There's not millions of black belts out there in any form of martial arts, I don't think. So he's doing very well for himself. And by the looks of it, how he earned his green belt by just flimsily chopping that bit of wood. It's like, well, anyone's going to get a fucking black belt based on that.
Are you sure he's not? Is this not like a kiddie karate? Surely it's not like, this is for like, he's about 5, isn't he?
I think in martial arts, it's like a belt's a belt.
Really?
I don't think you're getting like under 5 black belts. I think a black belt is a black belt. I think so.
Well, whatever's going on here. Jamie, he's got his green belt and he's really looking forward to getting his black, but he's not happy with Arnie. And Arnie's going, look, what can I do for you? How can I win your affection back? And he's like, no, Dad, no, you missed the belt. No, go away. And Arnie, well, he won't quit. He's there. He's going, no, you wanted the particular gift for Christmas. And Jamie ends up kind of going like, well, does this whole pitch? I guess like father, like son starts, basically rehearsing the advert. He can do a roundhouse kick. He can jump off the building. He can save all of this. It's the Turbo Man.
Well, the sort of pitch you'd have done to your mum and dad, I'm sure.
Absolutely right.
The robo dog, he does flips, he goes to the side, you can pet him, you can take him out for a walk, he lays turds out on the road,
Yeah.
You've got to pick up. I need it. I've got to have it.
And so obviously Arnie then agrees to this and goes, well, I'll be getting you a Turbo Man for your Christmas, Jamie. And Jamie's like, oh, I love you, Dad. And then you get this bit where he embraces Jamie and just goes, oh, I love you too, Jamie. I love you. And you get this close-up. And actually, this scene, you see it in Borat. When Borat comes to America and he's watching TV for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And he flicks the channels, and like that bit where he goes, like, I love you too, Jamie. I love you. Like, he looks at it, and Borat's face just like screws up. It's hideous. It's so hideous. And like, again, it's that message, isn't it? That like, well, you know, he's cocked up with his son. He's trying to win his affection back. Well, they'll get him a Turbo Man, and everything will be gravy. We'll be good to go.
How are you finding this compared to Tom from The River Wild? Do you think there's some parallels here?
I mean, to be obviously, this is a lot. You know, this is daft, isn't it? I mean, for at no point do you really take this seriously. I mean, I feel with The River Wild, you were genuinely meant to buy into this, like, you know, this disconnect between father and son, like this profound disconnect that was potentially going to be then going to be kind of brought back together through this ordeal. I fundamentally disagree with this thing about like your dad, who's basically supporting this lifestyle that you're in, has this job that requires him to be at the office most of the time, and unfortunately can't get away. You know, he can't say to his shareholders or whatever, do you know what, guys? I know this is a really critical time for the company, but, you know, Jamie's got his black belt, or not even his black belt. Jamie's got a green belt. I've got to get there. You know, pens down. I'll see you later.
I've got to watch him chop some flimsy wood. Sorry.
Yeah, you wouldn't be keeping that job. So I don't know what's going on here.
I think the issue is always the mum, the wife. Because the kid's the kid. You know, at the end of the day, the kid's still a kid, so the kid doesn't understand. You can sit him down and go, look, sorry, Jamie, I've got to sell X amount of mattresses, you know, to make X amount of profit to keep their business afloat. Do you understand? No, you weren't there for the green. I don't what mattress? But then you've got to rely on the wife and the mum to say, look, you know, Jamie, you know, the reason you got all this lovely stuff and you live in this lovely house and you may get a Turbo Man for Christmas, very expensive, is because Dad has to work these long hours, you see. You won't understand, I know, because you're only young, but he does love you, and, you know, when he gets the chance, he will come to the next stripe or the next belt. Oh, okay, you know. Oh, yeah, I'm sure the kid will be like, oh, but, you know, I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I love my daddy. I want him to see my karate.
But it's always a double blowout, because you get the kid whining, so you're like, oh, okay, right. It's still annoying. But you can kind of go, well, he's a kid at the end of the day. But it's also coming from the wife going, oh, you know, how would you, like, you've just got to step up. Where were you? What were you doing?
It's always being perpetuated by the wife. I mean, you know, by the same token, if it was the other way around, if it was the woman with his high powered job and he's a house husband or whatever, you'd expect him to be like, well, you know, mum's got to work. You know, she you know, if she didn't have the job she's got, then we wouldn't be living in this house. And you'd expect, you know, the husband to be like, well, yeah, explain that to the kid. You wouldn't expect the other party to be sitting at home going, you know, where were you? It was his karate. You've missed it. Because obviously it's poisonous.
Well, mate, you know, you've never done karate, you see. So, you know, if you've done it and you experienced it, you do not want to miss some kids chopping some wood, okay? Do you understand?
Well, Schwarzenegger then realised this sets all the events into motion, because obviously now Schwarzenegger's got to go and get himself a Turbo Man. But of course, I think he goes to bed that night and he sort of says to his wife, you know, he's patched things up with old Jamie. I just need to, you know, I need to just bring it home. And the wife goes, what's he called again? Howard, did you got that doll, didn't you? You know, a few weeks ago that I asked you to get. And Schwarzenegger's flapping. You know, he's like, oh Christ. It's like, sorry, the doll. It's like, yeah, you know, the Turbo Man doll. Oh, yes, the Turbo Man doll. And he starts doing, like, the recital that the son does. And he's then lying in bed. And the wife says something like, well, because, of course, you know, thank God you have. Because, you know, if you didn't, I mean, I'm pretty sure they sold it out. They all sold it out, like, 2 weeks ago. Well, you know, he gets this wide-eyed look on his face. It's quite funny. Yeah, whatever. So that I mean, what is there anything else going on here before this set of events sort of sets off?
So we've met Ted, haven't we? We've met Phil Hartman by this. He's at the karate and he's filming and stuff. So we've met him and we're getting a flavour. I'm not quite sure what his setup is. So he's this like single dad who just seems to be at home all the time. I think I heard this somewhere where, because there's no explanation, it's like, well, sorry, like he's a single dad. Like how's he just at home all the time? Like, is he not working? Like, you know, he's got this lovely house. What's the setup? I think Phil Hartman just made up this story in his head. It wasn't like in the script, but he just made up this thing where he just said he's this guy who just got this settlement years ago from like an accident. So he's just got loads of money. So he can just get away with just sitting at home, just making cookies, just trying to like get on old Rita, basically. Ted comes out with that nice slimy line when one of the wives asks him to fix something for them. I've got this like loose light, this loose fitting. Do you mind, you know, popping over and having a look at it? Sure. I've got just the tool for the job. But it seems like Rita's having absolutely none of this. She's not interested. But he's got all these bored housewives just absolutely just, you know, gagging for her. But he's got his sights set firmly on Schwarzenegger's wife, which I think in reality is like, it's not a great idea, is it? Have you seen Schwarzenegger? Like, what are you doing?
I wouldn't be going anywhere near that. He basically spends the whole film kind of ratting around Schwarzenegger's wife, and Schwarzenegger goes out to try and get this Turbo Man doll. It's like early Christmas Eve morning or whatever, and Ted's outside with a reindeer, and Schwarzenegger can't stand Ted. Howard can't stand Ted, and he's like, "Oh, how's it going, Ted?" And he's like, "Well, I got this for little Johnny. I'm of the opinion he can never do too much." And he's got this reindeer, and he was just an absolute rat, isn't he? But quite well played. I mean, I get it. I get why people would enjoy that.
Well, he comes out of that stuff when Arnie's like, sorry, what are you going to do with the reindeer after Christmas is ended? What are you going to do with it? Just like, put it in the garden? Oh, no, Howard. I'm going to take it down to the lake. There's a lovely bit of wood just about 20 miles away. And I saw a family of deer down there, and I'm just going to let it go free, so... You know what I mean? Oh, all right, brilliant. Yeah.
It's like, oh, how good of you, Ted. Lovely. And it is quite well played. But this is kind of it, isn't it? He's we then have Schwarzenegger queuing outside this department store. This is our first this is our first experience of the Sinbad character, who just starts, I don't know what's happening there, he just starts shouting.
He goes off on this rant, doesn't he, about God knows. What's he even talking about?
Man, these guys, these corporate guys that are trying to rob hardworking people like me, and, then the toy breaks. Ugh. Oh, Jesus. It's so bad. And it's drawn out as well. It goes on for quite a hefty amount of time. It's a real, you need to adjust the volume on your TV stuff.
Yeah, it's not a good start. I'm not sitting there going like, oh God, who's this Sinbad guy? He's quite funny. Oh, I want more of him. I want plenty more of this guy. He's good.
It turns out basically like him and Schwarzenegger are in the same position. They've both got young children who they've basically neglected to pre-plan, and they're desperately trying to find a Turbo Man, because if they don't find a Turbo Man for the children, their relationship's over.
Well, Christmas is ruined.
Well, Christmas is ruined, and the family pictures just disintegrates. The whole family's going to break apart. So they go into this department store, and they go up to the people working there. It's like, right, have you got any Turbo Mans? And everyone starts laughing and goes like, they sold out 6 months ago. Yeah, these two guys are trying to find a Turbo Man.
Oh yeah, what is that? It's awful, isn't it? Hey, have you heard this? Woohoo! And Arnie's just like, sorry, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Well, Schwarzenegger does actually get these two little rats by the scruff of the neck and goes, now, where can I get a Turbo Man?
Where's your Christmas spirit?
Yeah, where's your Christmas spirit? Yeah.
Sorry.
And he's like, well, when was the last one sold? And she's like, yeah, some woman got it, a few hours ago. The two of them then run off. So Sinbad and Schwarzenegger, and then they're in this kind of race to try and find this woman. And I think Schwarzenegger goes and uses a toy remote control car to trip Sinbad over. So Sinbad then falls over in this slapstick way, and Schwarzenegger runs past him and looks over him and just goes like, oh, poor baby, and then scampers off again.
You get that flash of this little porky Asian kid who's controlling the car before Arnie steals it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that.
No, it's not a good picture of childhood obesity. No, yeah, terrible. And then you have some poor baby from Schwarzenegger. I think this is the bit with them when he rings. So I think we flash back to the Howard household, and Ted is now inside the house and is helping Liz cook Christmas cookies. And he's going like, now, Liz, you're looking a bit hot and bothered over there. Why don't you go up for some Liz time and I'll finish the cookies off. I'll watch the boys, no problem. So he's busy sort of taking over Howard's life. And Howard rings the home to say, look, I'm going to be late for this parade. We should say that he's in a rush to try. This is another demand that's been put on him. Old young Jamie's got the idea that, his dad needs to be at this parade that's going on that afternoon. Again, if he doesn't turn up to the parade or he's late, that's again a sign that he doesn't love him.
To a point, I'm okay with that because it's Christmas Eve. Schwarzenegger shouldn't he wouldn't be working or he wouldn't be doing what he's doing if he just bought the Turbo Man. So I'm kind of okay with that. But again, you get the call in a bit where he just keeps like, you got a kid, you promise it. Any shred of sort of like, oh, okay, to be fair to old Jamie, bless him, is destroyed because he just keeps waffling on that phone call. It's horrendous.
Yeah, it's terrible.
We've had the montage, haven't we, of Arnie just going from shop to shop being laughed at, basically. This is where you get the whole the cookie stuff, don't you? So
Schwarzenegger basically calls home, and Ted's in the kitchen baking the cookies, and he rings up, and I think Ted answers it by saying, something residence. I don't know whether he uses, Howard's name or what, but he basically sort of suggests that, he's totally taken over the show. And he's like, oh, I'm having Liz's Christmas cookies. These are absolutely delicious. Mmm. And, quite fair, quite comic, quite good. And this is where you get the famous, put the cookie down, from Schwarzenegger.
No,
no. Fine, quite memorable. I mean, it's quite, actually, when you talk about it, it's quotable, isn't it? It's quite a quotable film, would you say?
Yeah, no, away from talking about it and reviewing it, it's like, yeah, as I said, it's a go-to for me, over Christmas. I'm not saying as a go-to because I'm like, oh God, Jingle All the Way, it's top 5 greatest Christmas films of all time. It's just Christmas. It is just complete and utter junk that you put on in the background and go, oh yeah, there it is, yeah. A couple of oh, that's quite a good bit. You get like a soundboard of Arnie. That, and you got that, it's not a tumour.
Oh yeah, tumour. It might be a tumour. It's not a tumour. It's not a tumour.
Pretty much every other line he comes out of is memeable, isn't it? Quotable.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He then heads to like the main, so the Mall of America, it's called, which is this like big, ugly, dystopian looking like concrete mess that's like the Mall of America. So that's where we are now. And they're all queuing up outside this department store that's, I think, flogging like the last few Turbo Mans. And the way they're doing it is like they've got all these people who literally look like a crowd of like flesh-eating zombies all crawling all over each other. They release these balls which like... if you get a ball, you get a Turbo Man. And you then get this scene where, the last ball's released. Schwarzenegger's busy running around the whole mall trying to capture it. This is where he comes across the crook Santa and his, what do you call them? Elf.
I know it's the 90s, but that haircut. Oh my good God.
I think I do get the impression though she's probably done up to look as like revolting as she could do.
Well, maybe, yeah. Well, it's the 90s, like. I don't think that's too far from like the go-to. Maybe, but I don't. If you were walking through that mall at that precise time, I don't think you stop and go like, "Oh man, that little girl's having a disaster with that haircut." I mean, you're just like, "Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, where'd you get that done?"
Oh, lovely.
Oh, just down the road at the salon. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh God, I must take our little Timmy down there for a bowl cut. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
lovely. I can see why Arnie's chasing after her. Delightful.
Well, he gets beaten out of the ball pit. Pervert and all this. He gets.
I'm not a pervert. I'm just looking for a Turbo Man. Oh yeah. Yeah, no.
I just need my Turbo Man for my Jamie. So he goes off, and he then gets ushered over by the Santa, and the Santa guy goes like, "Hey, so you want a Turbo Man for Christmas?" And Schwarzenegger goes like, "Well, I'm not sitting on your lap." And he basically gets, look, I can hook you up with, a Turbo Man. So he ends up in this setup where he gets driven out to the outskirts of the city to some warehouse by a man dressed as Santa and his elf, and it's basically a warehouse full of Santas, people like grown-up men dressed as Santa, who are basically like manufacturing knockoff toys and flogging them on like the black market. Why is everyone dressed as Santa? What the hell's that?
Well, God knows. Well, it's Christmas, isn't it? I suppose just keeping with the spirit.
But these people are criminals. It's like the mafia, isn't it?
Maybe if they're sort of dotted around various malls, or they just walk in the streets in the costume going like, oh, we got this for cheap, or 50% off.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, Santa. Oh, he wouldn't be scamming anyone. Oh, brilliant. Do you know who that Santa is? Do you know who the actor is? It's an interesting one, this.
No.
That's James Belushi. Him and Arnie have actually appeared in a couple of films together.
Oh, now tell me, like, Red Heat, is that one of them?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Of course, yeah, Red Heat. What else?
Last Action Hero, I think he was in as well.
Okay. I don't recognise him in that.
No, but yeah, Red Heat was the one that stood out to me. I was like, oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. They've got some history, these two.
Well, of course. I mean, I actually caught the tail end of Last Action Hero on recently, and I forgot just how big a part Charles Dance has in that.
Oh, he's the main bad guy, isn't he?
He's the main guy, yeah. He's very good, actually, Charles Dance.
That was absolutely panned, that film. I enjoyed that. It was good.
I mean, just as a side, he's also the best bit of Mank, the new David Fincher.
He's in that, is he? All right.
Yeah, he's the best bit of that by quite a way. But yeah, anyway. So we then have this like comic fight erupts between all the Santas. I think he charges him 300 quid for the Turbo Man, and then Schwarzenegger then unboxes it in front of them, and it turns out like it's just some like dog shit knockoff, like the arm falls off, and he's like, yeah, it's the multilingual version. It's both fun and what is it, educational. He's like, this is a dog shit Turbo Man. What are you doing? Oh, and then you just get this fight that erupts basically.
No, I'm pretty sure that I watched the extended version.
Oh yeah. Oh, poor you. What happened there?
Well, because this bit in particular, I think this is the main bit that was added on or was taken out of the theatrical cut, I'm assuming. They start singing. They serenade Schwarzenegger. Yeah, they just start singing some like carols to Schwarzenegger, and he's just like, yeah, very nice. Anyway, so where's his Turbo Man? Sorry, what the fuck is that? There's like a 2-minute scene of them all singing, all the Santas. I think there's 5 minutes more of content here, and that was one of them, and it was, yeah, I can see why it was cut. It was rubbish.
Oh, dear.
Terrible.
Yeah, that is grim.
So now Schwarzenegger's about to have this fight, have the showdown with Big Santa. Do you know who that is? Any idea who that is?
That's not by any chance the guy who plays a Maniac Cop, is it?
Oh, God.
No.
God. No.
No, got absolutely no idea.
Not Robert Zadar. No, it's not him.
No idea. Oh, but Thing the Giant, what's he called?
What, Andre the Giant?
Andre the Giant, who's that?
Oh,
Who's that again?
well, to be fair, that's closer.
All right, I don't know, tell me.
It's The Big Show. He's a wrestler.
Right.
No?
No idea.
The Big Show. The Big Bad Show tonight.
No. Oh, God. Is this WWE?
You weren't a big wrestler guy, were you, when you were a kid?
No, I'm only aware of the Undertaker with the tongue. That's one of them, isn't it?
We got The Rock. Yeah, The Rock was there.
The Rock, yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I know him, yeah.
Yeah. Triple H.
No.
This is this is The Big Show. Yeah, the Big Bad Show tonight.
Right, and how big is this guy? Because, I mean, he dwarfs Schwarzenegger.
Paul White, I believe, is... Oh, he's like 7 foot. Yeah, he's a big boy.
Bloody hell. What's he doing now?
Oh, I think he's still wrestling. I think not as much and everything, but I think he's still on the scene. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I think he's done all right for himself. The Big Show.
Big Show. Yeah.
I think also the buddy, the little one, the little man. He goes flying and he goes, "Oh, little buddy." I believe that might be Vernon Troyer. Mini-Me. I think that's him.
Okay. What is this? The one who shows up in the mall with Reddy?
No. The one who gets punched.
No, yeah. Oh, I don't. Yeah. Oh, is it Vernon Troyer? Really?
I think it's him. Yeah, I believe so.
Well, there's quite a lot of nice cameos appearing here. I mean, I imagine everyone wanted a piece of this. Everyone wanted to star in a Christmas film alongside Arnie. Who wouldn't? I feel like this is quite close to where you do get this bit where Jamie, I think he rings home to sort of say, "Look, I'm going to be late for this parade," and Jamie picks up the phone. Old Ed is out. Ted is outside giving everyone hot chocolate. I mean, he's literally walking around going like, "Hot chocolate."
Oh, yeah. Well, he's just cleaning up again. Oh, thank you, Ted. Oh, my God.
Yeah. You're such a good man. Thank you.
Amazing. Oh, I try my best.
And he's so old Arnie rings the home phone. It gets picked up by old Jamie, who sort of starts off going, Dad, where are you? You said you'd be here. The parade's starting in 5 minutes and Turbo Man's going to be there.
I need to talk to your mother. Put your mother on.
Sorry, Jamie, can you please put your mother, please put your mother on? Yeah, but you promised the Turbo Man's going to be at the parade. You're going to be late for it. And no, I need to speak to your mother, please. Put the mother on. And he's busy doing all this. And she goes, "Enough of the Turbo Man. I can't hear any more Turbo Man." And he's like, "Oh, well, he's done it there. He's both insulted Jamie and Turbo Man now. We've got a problem."
Oh, sorry, she's next door petting Ted. What?
Yeah, what? Ah! Yeah. Yeah, quite good, because he calls, the donkey or whatever it is called Ted. What is it? The reindeer.
The reindeer.
The reindeer, yeah.
Yeah, that fucking donkey.
But of course, Liz is busy just standing, there, leaning against the wall with her arms folded, listening to this, going like, "God damn you, Howard. God damn you." Just so dramatic. It's ridiculous.
Well, as I said, the thing is, I'm okay with this in terms of he's like a bit, he's a bit cranky, he's a bit annoyed that he's not going to be there for the parade. Like, so it's Christmas Eve. Like, where is he? He's not at work. So, like, what's he doing? Like, what's going on? But it's because sorry, Jamie, can you please? I need to speak to your mum. Like 5 times. But you promised. Turbo Man said you always gotta keep your promises.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, Jamie, take it easy. I know. I just need to speak to your mum. But Dad.
But what about the Turbo Man says if you want to keep your friends, you have to keep your promises? Jamie, put your mother on the phone. Oh.
Did I show you my green belt? Yes, I've seen it already.
Yeah, it stinks. So you get all this, absolutely ridiculous. And then, so after this absolute shit show, you've then got Schwarzenegger in a diner with Sinbad. And it's revealed Sinbad's backstory is he still resents his own father because he didn't get a G.I. Joe 4000 back in, 40 years ago.
G.I. Joe 4000, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Or whatever he's talking about.
What was that called? Because I think it was actually a real toy he references. It's like a Johnny OMA or something.
Oh, God knows. But again, I'm struggling to I'm struggling to sort of connect with these people on a human level because I just, what are we saying there? The guy's genuinely like blaming his alcohol problem and his basic failure as a man on the fact that his dad didn't get him the right toys for Christmas. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say, well, it goes along with a whole string of disappointments, but still, I'm not sure about the messaging of the film. I'm just not sure about the messaging of this at all, to be honest.
No, it's horrible, isn't it? It's just cheap. It's like, well, Sinbad's just a loser. His life hasn't turned out how he wanted it to. He bangs on about the next door neighbour. Oh, my next door neighbour, he got a Johnny Man MOA or whatever it was for Christmas, and now look at him, he's a billionaire. I didn't get it, and now I'm like a washed-up postman. If I had got that Johnny, if I got that present, I'd have been a billionaire, so it's all my parents' fault.
Yeah, with loads of money and everything I wanted, and it's just ugly. It's just the ugliest messaging of all time.
Basically, you need to be careful, because if you're not careful, when things don't go your way, you could be sitting in that diner, with Sinbad going like, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm getting it. I've got the same, I didn't get that when I was 8. And I tried this and it sucked, and now I'm absolutely exploding. Oh. Mate, can you name all the reindeers of Santa?
No, I can't. Sorry. No idea.
Rudolph?
Oh. Rudolph's one of them. Like, they've got stupid names, like Xavier and, Barnaby.
Andre the Giant.
The Undertaker, Barnaby. Kevin.
Well, that's about right, yeah.
The Santa's right-hand reindeer, Kevin. Of course, don't forget him.
Oh, Kev, yeah.
Regularly forgotten.
He pulls the phone out, they have a bit of a scuffle, and then the guy's like, hey, it's just 2 blocks down the road, guys. Oh, okay. And then you just get both of them running down the street to this radio station. Arnie going, I'm having a good time. Bye. It's self-aware, I think, that bit. I think that scene in particular is just completely self-aware from Arnie.
You like to think the whole thing's... I mean, he's got to be. He's got to know that this is some cheap junk,
I think some of it is, but I think some of it's not.
Bloody
or
hell.
Maybe. Who knows? I found that bit quite amusing. I'm having a great time.
Running along with this, tan, sort of overcoat thing on. It's just, there's this thing, he goes into they raid the radio station and, they realise they don't have a Turbo Man in the studio, so then they threaten the place. So I think old Sinbad comes in with a package and he's like, I've got a bomb in the package. And then the police come in and he manages to sort of get the police to drop their weapons by saying, oh, I've got a bomb in here, in which time, both Sinbad and Arnie are able to run off. I think this is the bit then when he goes home, Arnie, and he's found in old Ted's house, trying to steal the Turbo Man from his tree.
So he runs out of petrol, doesn't he? How's he manage that? I don't know what you're doing there, Arnie, but just keep an eye on that old fuel tank next time. Oh, a little bit of trivia for you. The person who gives him a lift home in the truck, the woman, played the wrong Sarah Connor in The Terminator.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Sarah Connor. Yes. And then absolutely blows her out with that sort of sniping thing. Good scene. Good film.
What do you think, mate? Just a bit of trivia for you. Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic trivia. I mean, I was actually sitting some time ago going, I wonder what the hell that woman's doing now. Because she did a great dive forward when she got her head blown off in T1.
Have we got that fake Sarah Connor? I'll give her a bit of work.
Yeah.
Give her a couple of grand. Yeah.
Yes.
Stick her in the truck.
That's good stuff, that. Yeah. Nice. He goes back home and, he finds his way. He works his way into the Ted household and he's considering stealing his Turbo Man, but he decides against it last minute. He goes, to be fair, this is real low-life level. Unfortunately, he creates a bit of a, we have a bit of a nightmare because, he sets the house on fire by accident, whatever else. And you end up getting Ted and Liz storming the room and catching old Arnie with the Turbo Man under his arm.
Well, he sets the house on fire, doesn't he? Boots the, what is it? Is it Jesus' head? Does he boot that out the window?
So, I don't think it's Jesus, but it's,
it's one of the wise men?
It's a significant, part of the picture. And, basically gets caught red-handed. And he basically has to try and explain his way out, which he's unsuccessful. Obviously, Ted's absolutely loving this. He's literally standing watching the husband and wife at it with an open mouth. And Liz, quite spiteful, I feel like this was a real arsehole move, turns to Ted at the end of this sort of argument she's had and goes like, can you drive me to the parade, Ted? Obviously, Arnie's just like, right, you've completely done me here, Liz.
Everyone's quite casual about this. He's broken into Ted's house. He smashed his window. He set the living room on fire. And they just leave him in there. Then he goes, sorry, Howard, what the fuck is going on? You're breaking and entering. You've set my house on fire. Arnie, can you get out of my house, please? I'm going to call the police. So yet again, Arnie's committed another criminal offence. But that's fine. We'll just brush that off. Because Ted's just absolutely gagging to take old Liz to the festival.
Sorry, Ben, sorry. Not the festival, the parade.
Oh, sorry, the parade, yes. And Arnie's just there with, licking his wounds. Well, he punches the donkey in a minute.
Yeah, he does. But he's basically like, well, Ted's basically been trying and is now successfully going to fuck my wife. Dear. Happy Christmas.
if she was to chow down on Ted, I think, does he deserve it at this point? Possibly. He's broken into the guy's house, he's set it on fire, and he's trying to steal a kid's toy because basically Arnie just didn't go to the fucking shop and get the Turbo Man a couple of weeks ago.
And actually, like, whenever we've met, I think it's Billy. I think Billy is actually Ted's son or something like that. He's actually not a bad lad. Like, he's not even a bad, like, I don't know what to say, little boy. He's like not a total rat, is he? Like, he's just fairly...
Well, he's just a little porky kid, isn't he? Whatever, yeah. Well, he comes up that lines, he goes like, oh, I've got to say, my dad was never like this, but after his divorce from Mum, he's been fantastic. That's before the phone call, and he starts, like, he runs off, doesn't he? He goes like, oh, and then gets the call, and he's like, oh, hi, Dad, oh. Jimmy, and he talks to your mother. Promises!
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that sets him off. I feel like so we then move into the kind of final showdown of this, and we basically go to the parade, and Liz is in the Arnie's running to the parade, of course, and we just get this bit where Liz and Ted are in his car, and Ted's going, I'm a very eligible bachelor. A lot of women would be honoured to be in the position you're in now. Mercifully, and he goes like, Lizzie, how do you feel? And she goes like, Lizzie? And then I think when he tries to go in for like a kiss, she like twats him over the head with some eggnog, which is pretty good. Safely dispatches that little rat.
You could say that Ted's come away with nog on his face.
Yeah, well, that's quite right. That's very good. I mean, I'm assuming that's the take home, is it? That's what we're going for. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going for, yeah.
Yeah, some eggnog.
That's what I'm having. I'm having some of that.
Yeah.
I've got no idea why no one cracked that joke in the film. Why wasn't that in the script?
Because, mate, it's too obvious. Of course, we're already enjoying it, you see.
Well, yeah. Well, this film was very deep. It's very clever.
Oh, it's subtle.
It's very well written.
It's very subtle.
So, I've just come out with, a 5-year-old gag there. It's pathetic, actually. I'm going to retract that gag. Sorry, listeners. I apologise for that.
You've really lowered the tone. I think, do you know what, Ben? You've totally missed the point of this film. You've totally missed the mark.
We should just stop recording because I've ruined it.
Well, I don't know what film you're talking about. But yeah, so we get this bit. Arnie then somehow, he's busy running through the crowds trying to find old Jamie and, make amends. And he basically gets mistaken as the actor who's going to then play the Turbo Man. So he gets kitted out as the Turbo Man, ends up on top of this big podium that's getting paraded down the street. I've got no idea what parade this is or what's happened to the inhabitants of this city, but whenever it flashes to the crowd, I'd say it's about 20% kids, 80% fully grown adults, literally like waving, going wild for Turbo Man. It's and of course Arnie's up there.
Yeah, it's slightly odd. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a true representation of parades in America.
I wouldn't fall off my chair. I wouldn't be falling off my chair, but still, it's pretty alarming. And of course, this is just an opportunity for Arnie to strike his poses. He's been rehearsing his World's Strongest Man poses, so he's basically just pulling those off.
Oh, he loves it, doesn't he? Yeah, he's like, I could get used to this. Oh, it's a cringe fest, him saluting everyone. It's horrendous. You also get that bit with the kids because, they've been sort of bickering. And then all these sort of characters go by, like, Power Rangers, all sorts of stuff. And then, like, Cat in the Hat walks by. And the kid's like, yeah, Cat in the Hat. Ooh, high five. Cat in the Hat. What the fuck is Cat in the Hat? Well, one, that's not Christmassy. What's that got to do with Christmas? And I don't think Cat in the Hat's fucking cool, is it?
I don't know. Fuck knows.
If you're at loggerheads with someone and you're bickering, like, I'm Turbo Man or whatever you're fucking shouting about, and then Power Rangers go by, all these other cool characters go by, and then Cat in the Hat walks by. Yeah, ooh,
yeah. I want to be Cat in the Hat, please.
Let's make a truce here. Cat in the Hat's fucking lush. High five. Awful.
We then have Sinbad is back in the picture, and again is for some reason now dressed up as the arch nemesis of Turbo Man, who's this like just blob in some stupid suit with like a brain exposed. So we have to deal with yet again more Sinbad going like, aha, Turbo Man, here I am, and I don't know. Yeah, so we then have this fight erupt. Oh no, that's right. So Turbo Man in this, as part of this parade, has to pick one child from the audience to receive the last Turbo. Has to give a Turbo Man to a lucky child. Well, of course it's Arnie, and he's looking for Jamie, and it just so happens that the podium has stopped pretty much directly in front of where Jamie's standing with his mother.
Well, I thought it had already gone by.
Oh yeah, so did I.
I know it's going slowly, but we see Jamie. And then 2 minutes later, it's like, right, we've got to pick a kid. Well, surely it's already gone. We've missed Jamie.
No, I think they've backed up. They've backed up the podium.
They popped into reverse, yeah.
And so he's there and he's scouring the crowds for. He's literally doing the finger. He's literally going, and so he's trying to find the Jamie, and he sees him, and he's like, Jamie, come up here, Jamie. It's you. And he's trying to point
at me. No, he's pointing at me. Jamie,
get yourself up here, boy. So he comes up and he's like, oh my God, and everyone's going like, how the fuck does this like weirdo know the name of one of the children? I mean, I'd say there's a lot of characters in this who I'd definitely be wanting to check the hard drives of. I mean, I'd say Ted is a definite candidate. I wouldn't be letting him anywhere near my kids without checking that hard drive. Because there's a moment when he's doing the cookies where he's obviously like, ever so nice whenever the Liz is there. But the moment she goes off and he burns his hand on one of the cookies, he's like, settle down in there, boys. It's like, oh dear. He's clearly quite unhinged, this guy.
It's shifty, yeah. His wife's, God knows where. Where's the mum? No idea where she is. She's just out of the picture completely. It could be a setup where he's killed the wife. Like, she's been done. She's under the floorboards and he's just taken over.
He's come into all this wealth.
Yeah, she was like well off, and he's taken her money. He's gone, oh, well, she's disappeared. She left me with with the kid. What are we going to do? Are we meant to believe that Jamie is not recognising his dad?
Yeah, no, well, yeah, of course.
It's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even if it's not, you should better recognise your dad because you can see the mouth, you can see pretty much the whole.
Well, you can see his face. Well, his face is on show. He's just wearing a pair of goggles.
And he's talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. What the fuck's going on?
Jamie, what do you want to eat? Sorry, I don't understand who you are. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What was that?
Yeah,
sorry, in English, please, Turbo Man. What are we doing?
Yeah, sorry. Like, you sound like an Austrian. What the hell's going on? What are you, an Austrian immigrant or something? How have you ended up in this country? What's going on?
I thought Turbo Man was American, judging by the TV show that I watch on loop. Oh, an Austrian.
An Austrian?
Don't even know where that is.
What the fuck's that about?
Where's Austria? What the fuck's Austria?
No, it's an American. Oh. All right, Turbo Man, cheers.
Even at the end, after all the jetpack surgery we're about to get to, he's like, oh, I wish my dad could have seen me fly. Well, Jamie. Oh, it's such a shame.
I am your father. And he like pulls off his gimp mask. But yeah, no, it should be mentioned that we do get this bit where he uses this jetpack. So again, he's wearing like an outfit, but it's actually got a jet. It's a real jetpack.
Well, how much are these suits costing?
Well, God, no.
Like this is for a parade, like millions.
Well, that must be. Well, I mean, that must be some of the most state of the art equipment in the world at that point. I mean, that must be some like CIA grade intelligence.
Yeah. Well, they don't even exist now in 2020. You're not getting a jetpack.
We get this scene where it's CGI'd, and it's basically Schwarzenegger zooming around the city. Well, I mean, it looks like a balloon that's just been let go off. I mean, he's basically just like blowing around.
I'm not going to start sitting here and trying to defend CGI. It's one of my bugbears of movies. It makes me sick when I see it most of the time. But I'm okay with it when we're not getting a close-up. Yeah, like the buildings look awful. Of course, it looks like absolute dog shit, as usual.
Of course.
But as long as it keeps away from Arnie and we don't get a close-up, oh, whatever. Okay, do what? Yeah, fine. 96, fine. I think the budget for this film was pretty big. So I imagine most of the budget was spent on that. Before this, like, what else would you look at in that film and go, oh, I bet that cost a fair bit?
Well, but I mean, I reckon probably because you get a lot of scenes, don't you, where they're like shot on the city, on the high street and stuff. I imagine it probably cost a shitload to arrange those.
The shopping centre was in it was. I think they filmed this in Minnesota, some of it. So the shopping centre would have been closed down. All the people would have been, had to have been paid X amount or whatever. But yeah, every time that you get a close-up of Arnie, well, it just is sickening. It's horrendous. And then you get a couple of bits which are just, completely unforgivable. So you've got a bit where he gets like caught in a fucking flag. So he's like spinning around. He's like, oh, he's going to be sick. It's just like, oh man. and then you get, probably one of the worst bits, ever, actually, in any film, where he smashes into the building and he starts shaking. Well, what the fuck is going on?
Well, yeah.
What's going on?
Well, what's that? I don't know. I mean, I guess at this stage you're meant to be so charmed by the ridiculousness of it all that you kind of go, oh, God, look at this. Crazy. Arnie in a jetpack. He's Turbo Man. But no, it just doesn't land for me. It's absolutely rotten.
It should have been completely inverted. He should have just blown up. His head should be mush.
Well, yeah, I mean, it should be just he should have just basically minced himself on broken glass.
But he's just shaking a little bit, going There's the bit where he goes past the trees or whatever. They set on fire. Oh God, yeah, the Turbo Man, very fast, all jetpacks. And then he crashes through some family's window and ruins their spread. Well, sorry, no hair getting set on fire? That table
Mate,
not
come
getting
on.
set on fire? You need to be consistent.
Come on, it's good. But it's Turbo Man. Come on.
I mean, it's also this CGI stuff as well. Like, it's never consistent. It's all over the place. They just throw his shit together and just see what happens. See what sticks. It never sticks, and it's not even consistent. It's just shit again.
You would have honestly have been better just setting a balloon off in a room and just filming it. Going, yeah, that's actually Arnie with the jetpack on. Cheers.
Maybe just have like maybe a minute of jetpack. It's like the whole third act is just jetpack.
I must actually admit, I did actually fast forward some of the jetpacking. I was like, God, I think I've probably seen enough of this.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know,
Well, yeah,
no one's getting anything out of that. It's garbage. He then lands, whatever. He captures Jamie, who at this stage is, you know, almost falling off a building, whatever. And we just get this bit at the end where, so he's ultimately saved the day. Everyone's around him. Jamie still doesn't know it's Arnie, even though he's literally going like, Jamie, you've got your Turbo Man. And he goes like, you know, here you go, Jamie, here's your Turbo Man. And takes his little gimp mask off and goes, you know, hello, it's Arnie, you know, we're back to normal. And he gives the kid then, I guess it's the switch up, you know, the kid's learned his lesson that really what matters is the love of his father. Gives Sinbad the Turbo Man. And the Sinbad character's going, oh, you know, thank you, my son. It's going to make my son so happy. And Arnie's going like, but Jamie, it's the thing you wanted the most. It's the Turbo Man. He goes, why would I need a Turbo Man doll when I've got the real Turbo Man at home? And Arnie's like, oh. I don't think he even says anything. He just makes his grunting pleasure noises.
No, hang on. He gets all the revelers and all the the people watching the parade like pick him up like he's the fucking Messiah. I just starts kind of waving.
Yeah.
He goes over the whole spiel to Rita, to Liz.
Oh dear.
You know, I failed. You know, I'm not going to leave you guys. I'm not going to leave you guys again. You know, I need to do better. I've neglected you. I need to do better. I'm not leaving. And then just gets picked up and just minces off again. He just gets like dragged off. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
It lasted like 10 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, mate, there you go. Jingle all the way. That's basically it, isn't it?
Well, mate, you don't forget the last scene. Oh, God, what about the last scene? The very last scene. Did you fast forward that bit as well? I hope not.
Potentially. I think I might have turned it off. What happens? What happens?
Yeah, the wife's like, oh, Howard, oh, and the Turbo Man stuff.
Yeah.
So she's talking a bit of Arnie in that.
Yeah.
You know, she's ready to divorce him, and then 10 seconds later, yeah.
I can see that fucking package. Oh yeah.
Wear that in the bedroom tonight, Arnie, please. Yeah, again, he's just getting praise. You know, she's going, Howard, I just can't believe you went so much effort to try and get that Turbo Man. I can't wait to see what you've got me. And then it does another close-up of his face, like he gets in the bed, wide-eyed.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's almost like Jim Carrey-esque, isn't it, those looks? Like, I think it's the first time Schwarzenegger's been asked to, like, basically deliver a punchline through his face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, I'm not too sure, but, yeah, he just looks like a fish.
Yeah.
He just looks like a gormless fish. What's he trying to show there? That he's troubled, or what are we doing?
Well, he looks like he's been lobotomized. But yeah, no, it's, fine.
So, I think what's happened there, Tom, if you didn't get it from that, is that I don't think he's bought Liz a gift.
Oh, well,
I think he's going to go back out again.
Well, maybe that's how we justify the next. I'm pretty sure they made a few others. I'm pretty sure this isn't the only Jingle All the Way film. I think there's a sequel, isn't there?
They made a sequel like 6-7 years ago, 2014, 13, which, just looks like a disgrace. I don't think it's even worth mentioning.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not Arnie.
Larry the Cable Guy, whoever the fuck that is in it.
I think closing statements. I guess it's quite fun, isn't it? I mean, I think it's cheap, it's tacky, and in some ways it's quite nasty. I think in its messaging, but I guess it sort of redeems itself right at the end, and it's funny. I mean, if you like Schwarzenegger, well, I mean, it's Schwarzenegger just being utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, what do you think it sits in terms of Schwarzenegger comedy?
Oh, Schwarzenegger comedy.
Yeah, comedy. Yeah. Obviously not films. Yeah, there's no.
So we'll throw some names out.
Well, so we've got Kindergarten Cop.
It's not as good as that, because that's actually quite good. Like, it's quite a good ending, that.
Yeah, it's it's all right, yeah. Twins.
Never seen it.
Junior.
Never seen it.
What else? There's another... Oh, well, I guess The Last Action Hero, I suppose, is like action comedy.
Not as good as that. It's not as good as that.
No. So, yeah, I guess it's...
I put it third on the list of sort of comedies that I've seen.
It's not bad then, is it, I suppose, for Arnie?
Yeah, fine. Just whatever. Have you got any closers?
No, I think, as I said to kick things off, I think away from reviewing it and talking about it, I think we've managed to talk about it for a fair bit. So it can't be all bad. But just watching it as a Christmas film, it will be going on, I imagine, most years for me. You got your feet up, it's Christmas, like, oh yeah, just stick Jingle All the Way on. You can talk through it, you can go, oh god, that bit's on, oh here we go. And that's about it. It's not offensive. When I finished it yesterday, writing notes, I was like, oh man, oh no, oh this stinks actually, this film. Now we've talked about it, it's like, no it doesn't. Well, no, it does stink, but whatever, like, I'm not offended by it in any way.
I think if you're getting angry about Jingle All the Way, I think you're putting your efforts in the wrong direction. You're putting your energy in the wrong place.
If there's any anger, it's towards Sinbad's like pretty gross, but like the kid's just he's annoying, really fucking annoying. He's a whiny little brat. You do make a good point that there is something quite nasty about it. I guess in some ways, I think you got to credit the film for that because it portrays it reasonably well. Materialistic
filth and people crawling over each other. Yeah.
Consumerism and all that stuff, and what people looking for toys and how depraved it truly is. And seeing a bloke who's just like having a complete disaster because he didn't get his toy when he was a kid, that ruined his life. So he wants to make sure that he doesn't ruin his son's life by getting this pretty worthless toy when it comes down to it.
I think also if you're a father and the relationship you got with your kids is so fragile that the idea of not getting them a Christmas present is like make or break. I mean, I think that it alone is probably worth making a film about.
Yeah, well, it's not too good, is it? I think if he based his whole childhood on not getting that one toy and he resents his parents for it, he's pretty much set his son up to have the same resentment towards him because he's obviously completely fucked up this whole Turbo Man situation.
Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, there you go. Until next time, goodbye. Thank you.
Yeah. Happy Christmas. Cheers.
You'll find me on social media just trying to post sort of witty and humorous things. So all that and more can be found over at Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at FilmFloggers.
Hello and welcome to What's Our Seat Number. If you're listening to this trailer, you're deciding whether or not you're going to listen to this podcast.
Good.
But chances are we've lost you already.
Good. Wait, what? No, come on, Matt. What?
Well, I mean, it takes what, like 10 seconds for people to lose interest in things? I am not being defeatist. They've gone already. It's for now.
Well, now they are because we started arguing, so we've both sort of driven them out.
Well, go on then. Tell the dead air who we are.
Okay, the dead air.
The dead air.
The cadaver.
The people who aren't listening anymore.
I'm taking control. You introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing, right? It's going to sound more professional that way. Go.
Okay. I'm Johnny Gross. I'm a filmmaker and a film fan and fanatic and obsessive.
Good. Very good. That was very well done. Very professional. You sounded like you're in control and almost like you know who you are.
All right then. And who are you?
I'm Sai. I'm a 3D artist and a game designer, a film fan. I'm your brother as well.
Really?
So we're going to be talking about some of our favourite movies and hopefully some of yours as well. There's going to be trivia behind the scenes.
Do you want to tell the listeners why we've called this podcast What's Our Seat Number?
You really came to the right person with fielding this question because I feel that I can take this story and really bring it to life. Okay, so one time we went to go and see a film in the cinema and I asked, what's our seat number?
Fantastic.
Was it good?
Yeah.
I did it for you.
It's great. If you want to hear more, you can check out the rest of our episodes. We're hosted by Podbean, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music or Audible, TuneIn, Alexa, Listen Notes, and now on iHeartRadio, Player FM, and Podchaser. So pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Please don't forget to review, like, and rate, and keep listening, because the more you listen, the more we'll be able to produce. Bye.
Ta-ta.